Well, this may be the worst we've seen of the algae. Watch this man taking a rake to the chunks of it floating in his North Fort Myers Canal.
And look at this new video showing the green wave continuing to push down the Caloosahatchee. This is close to downtown Fort Myers. And you've been asking us, is this stuff in any way getting into our drinking water? The Night Beat has complete team coverage of the algae emergency tonight. We start with John Carlos Estrada in North Fort Myers.
Guys, the smell is just so bad out here that we actually have to cover our mouth and our noses. And I just want to show you what we're seeing out here in North Fort Myers. You can see just how congealed the algae is out here. It's actually blue and green. You could really tell how bad it is. But all this algae plus the others that we've been seeing around Southwest Florida, you started to ask just how clean is the water coming out of my faucet?
It's like poop. I mean, it looks like poop.
Progressively has gotten worse with the clumping of the sludge on top, probably the second or third.
The smelly blue-green algae bloom in North Fort Myers is keeping neighbors inside. You mentioned that you get headaches, right?
Oh yeah, the longer I stay out here to get the dogs, because sometimes the dogs like to play out here, I start to get headache, I start to feel a little woozy. Yeah. I just try to get the dogs back in as fast as I can.
It's the worst they've seen in their canal.
For the last 3 years, this turning green, and of course this year it's the worst that we've had it. It all coincides with every time they talk about dumping water out of Okeechobee.
Seeing this in their backyard, many of you are wondering if the water in your tap is okay to drink.
I hadn't thought about it before, but yeah, that's kind of concerning.
It's well water, so it's not all that treated, so yeah, I'm a little bit.
We asked Lee County, Cape Coral, and Fort Myers Utility. They tell us the algae isn't impacting their supply.
We actually don't come out here too often when it's like this. You know, we don't fish. I wouldn't eat anything out of this river right now.
Larry McDowell lives next door to the Olga water treatment plant, the only plant that pulls water straight from the Caloosahatchee. It's been closed for maintenance for months, according to the county. But seeing this in their backyard, some neighbors aren't leaving anything to chance.
I imagine they can filter it pretty well and that kind of stuff, but I don't know that I would drink it. I'd probably drink bottled water.
Yeah. And the water treatment plant in Olga was also closed down last year, and officials say it was because of maintenance. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.
Plastic blooms are already leaving lifeless ducks just like this one in a canal in Cape Coral.
The Night Beat has complete team coverage of the algae emergency at 11. Let's start with John Carlos Estrada and the dead ducks in the canal just east of the Bimini Basin.
Oh, Chris, that's right. 2 of those ducks remain in this canal. Just take a look. One is right here floating nearby, face down. And actually, FWC got back to me and they said they actually asked the neighbor if they could grab, bag, and freeze this animal so they can test it. It's a sight nobody wants to see. Dead animals covered in algae in their backyard.
It didn't really seem to hit home until it was literally in my own backyard.
Just this morning, Maria Farmer says these ducks were alive.
It was just so fast, and then the first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, what if that had been a child?
Farmer and her boyfriend thought about burying the dead ducks.
I actually felt like, you know, the ducks, they were living creatures. They deserve the respect of a burial. But when I got close to them and took those photos, the sight of that death, I just got so scared.
It's hard, you know, because you don't know how toxic this is going to be for you. So, you know, you try and call, you know, FWC or Crow.
We called Crow and FWC too. Crow says they can only help living animals and only if they're in distress. FWC asked if neighbors could bag, freeze, and ship the animals for testing because they don't have the resources right now to have someone to come out. We did see a flock of ducklings swimming nearby. Farmer fears they could be next.
When you see these little ducklings over here, what sort of goes through your mind?
They're going to die.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
No, I mean, it killed much larger ducks pretty quickly, so that's the same spot they were swimming in.
And speaking of that, John Carlos, within the last 45 minutes, I understand those neighbors you talked to actually went and picked up one of the ducks?
Chris, that's right. That man came out here with a glove, a bin, and a 2-gallon bag, and he says that he came out here because FWC asked him to, and he followed through. Just take a listen.
More thing that we can do to try and help, if they can find out, you know, exactly what went on, maybe it's just one more piece to, you know, help bring about some change.
And we were actually able to help him shine some light so he could help get that duck out. Now, as for those ducklings that were in the story, Crow got back to me about an hour and a half ago, and they told me they can't do anything for those animals until they're in distress. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.
All right, John Carlos, thank you. This new video brings back memories of how rescuers cleaned up animals after the oil spill in the Gulf. You can see crows swabbing the algae out from under the wing of this laughing gull. Sanibel Clinic hooked up an IV to flush out the toxins. A volunteer saw the bird stuck and not able to fly in a Cape Coral canal. If you see an ailing animal in the middle of all of this, here's the number to call, 239-472-3644. Smells so bad, flies are hovering all around it and on it tonight. Imagine living in this. Well, some people don't have to. They already live with the atrocious smell.
I'm getting more shortness of breath when I'm right by the water, particularly at night when I'm sleeping in it.
The boats are docked at the Paradise Marina in North Fort Myers. That's where the Night Beat's John Carlos Estrada picks up our team coverage tonight. John Carlos.
Hey guys, that's right. The smell just overwhelming here at Paradise Marina. Just take a look at what we're seeing. You can see how thick the algae is here, and it's again pretty powerful. We talked to people that are living on their boats right now. Some of them feeling the effects of this because of respiratory issues. And new tonight, a lot of them are afraid to even turn on their engines.
In the morning, it's terrible. It just rises up off of here like almost like a toxic cloud.
It may be called Paradise Marina, but with this in the water, it's no paradise.
And we've liked it very much. It's been nice until the slime showed up.
David Patton moved here from Marathon after his boat was destroyed during Irma. His new home on the water, a mess with this blue-green algae, and he and his neighbors are now stuck.
We're afraid to start our engines.
We're stuck. I really can't take the risk of taking the boat out right now.
For at least 3 weeks now, with the worst of it happening now, they're living on this blue-green algae.
I'm getting more shortness of breath when I'm right by the water, particularly at night when I'm sleeping in it.
My wife and I only come up here from time to time in the morning because we want to get out, but we don't stay out very long because you can't. It makes my nose run like mad as soon as I come out.
Doctors say that's common. Breathing in fumes from blooms can flare up respiratory problems. But the toxin microcystin produced by the blue-green algae can also make you vomit, give you rashes, and make you cough. At Paradise Marina, few have left their homes, while the rest say they'll wait it out for now.
You guys thought about leaving yourself?
No. We're not going to leave because I know, well, this is probably everywhere.
Right.
So where are you going to go to? I just hope that there's not an outbreak of some kind of a respiratory disease or something like that on Cape Coral, because the hospitals be overflowed with it.
And in 2016, during the last big green-blue algae outbreak, hospitals around here did see an uptick in people with respiratory issues. No word yet if that is happening again this year. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.
Brand new signs warning you not to swim at the Cape Coral Yacht Club beach. The city says the water isn't safe because of the algae. For some people, this warning comes a little too late. Night Beat's John Carlos Estrada is live there with the story. John Carlos.
Amanda, that's right. These are the signs that were put up just a couple of hours ago. They say no swimming. There's about half a dozen of them along the beach here. But earlier today, these signs were not here. There were 24 people that were enjoying the water here, a lot of them children. But new tonight, the city of Cape Coral says no one should go in the water.
The water is green at the Cape Yacht Beach Club.
Like a little, green stuff, but a little bit. Now, especially in this area, it's a little worse, but it's like a green all over.
Emiro Perez and his son come here at least once a week, but today they notice a difference.
They have to close the beach and clean it.
If they were serious, I think they should close. They should close all the beach in all the areas. Yeah. If they were so serious, of course.
At new tonight, the city decided the blue-green algae was just too much. They closed the beach to swimming, saying in part, visitors still can come to the beach to relax and sunbathe. And that's exactly what Jude Way Spencer decided to do so today.
Oh, I absolutely came down here to swim until I saw the green rolling in, but unfortunately it's just water therapy today.
This was the only algae warning sign to protect the people of Cape Coral here, something the Calusa waterkeepers say is inadequate to keep you safe. But now the city says they'll have more signs at the Yacht Beach Club to let people know it's not okay to get into the water.
Personally, I wouldn't chance having bacteria go in my body anywhere, so I wouldn't, because it said not to.
And the city of Cape Coral did not mention how long this no swim advisory would be put here, but for now, all you can do here is to relax and to sunbathe. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.
Jim, thank you. Team coverage tonight on our water quality crisis. Cleanup crews are getting ready to scoop toxic algae out of canals in a matter of hours. Well, poison control calls what we're experiencing a public health outbreak now. And cleanup will finally get started on the toxic blue-green algae choking our canals in just a few hours. First on the list, here in the Lockmore Waterway Estates area in North Fort Myers. Night Beat's John Carlos Estrada there tonight with how it'll work.
Chris, that's right. In just a few hours, the work will begin to clean up these canals in North Fort Myers. Just take a look at what we're seeing right now. You can see that there's some blue-green algae right over there. The state giving Lee County $700,000 to help fund all of this. And here's how it's going to work. With the help of an engineering firm and guidance from the Department of Environmental Protection, they'll use a machine to suck up the algae. From there, they'll separate the solid material from the liquid. Then they'll treat that water, deposit the treated water into deep injection wells, and the solid algae material will be brought to a landfill temporarily. All of this will be done at the Lee County Water Treatment Plant, and neighbors who live here with the smelly, nasty blue-green algae are excited to see this cleanup start now.
I'm real happy because it's just unsightly. At least it doesn't stink now, but I'm really glad to see them jumping on it as quick as they are.
We'll be able to come out here a lot more often. You know, it'll be great to have it cleaned up.
And while neighbors around here who live near these canals are excited to see this work done, Lee County leaders do want to make sure to let everyone know that this is only a test. They are not sure how successful this will all be. And water activists that Wink News spoke to last week say that this is not a long-term solution. On the Night Beat, John Carlos Estrada, Wink News Now.